You think it'll spin the tires? Hey there, internet peoples. Welcome back. I'm Matt. This is the Southern Motorworks channel, and today it's finally time to get started on one of these projects that we've had, oh, what's it been? A couple months now? We've had the old girl waiting around here for a couple months now, and we've put out some teaser trailers and stuff, you know, and kind of some shorts involving it and whatnot, but it's finally time to get to work on the 98 C230 that we have here for our daughter's first ride. So we picked this one up pretty much out of the edge of a cotton field, or was it a peanut field? Some kind of field, up close to the Alabama state line. And this is going to be our daughter's first project. We got it on a real good deal. It needs a little bit of TLC, but it's going to be a great first car. So we'll get you in here and walk you around and show you what's up with it. All right, so like I said, we got this on a real good deal. Never mind my shop cat. I think she just ate a bug or something. But anyways, so we got this on a real good deal. There was a gentleman that was selling it, and he was just trying to get rid of it. It had been sitting in a field of his for about 6 years, I think it was. Yeah, 2018. So it's been sitting in a field for about 6 years. Some kinfolk of his had kind of an accident with a concreted in clothesline pole in his yard. So we had a little accident with it, and it's been parked ever since. So it was running and driving. He actually drove it for, I guess, a couple weeks after the accident, and then he decided to park it. So it did, it messed up the whole hood here. The driver's side front fender was jacked up, headlight and everything. As you can see, the inner structure for the bumper, the crush bumper here, whatever you want to call it, impact bumper, was damaged right here in the center. Everything's just kind of tweaked a little bit, but I mean it's not too awful bad. I don't think it was ever reported because the vehicle doesn't have like a salvage title or anything. So we've sourced the parts from all over, because you know there's not a lot of these C230s in junkyards, at least not around this part of Florida. So we've sourced parts from all over. We've got everything we need to fix the old girl cosmetically. I do believe the fuel pump went out while it was setting. I believe there's a brand new one sitting in the back seat, but we are going to have to drain the tank because the tank has a ton of old nasty gas in it, and it's just not going to run off that, and we're just going to clog up injectors and fuel filters and whatnot. And so we're going to drain that tank first. Hopefully it's not got like 20 gallons in it or something, you know. Like I said, it's we got it on a real good deal here. Just couldn't pass it up. It came with a brand new hood, or I say brand new, a junkyard hood and a fender included in the price. And so these are good to go. We're just gonna have to respray them the color of the car. And then we actually drove all the way to Lake City to pick up this entire front clip here, because that was like $100 at the junkyard in Lake City versus trying to piece it together from parts on eBay, and that was going to be like $400. So as you can see, she needs a little bit of work. She needs a good bath, you know, good polish. But I mean, it's only got little bits of surface rust here and there. The paint's oxidized on the top, but it's, you know, it's nothing we can't polish up or get to shine up a little bit. It's got the cool kind of 90s. I think those are 15-inch wheels on there, but we're actually going to be upgrading those. I think we're going to be putting the original wheels from my 430 on here, so we can upgrade to some 17-inch wheels and some more modern tires. 15s are a pain to friggin' hunt down anymore, so we're going to put some 17s on there and make it a lot easier to find used tires and whatnot. interior wise, I mean, it's not all that bad. There's not really like any sort of bad smells or anything. It just kind of smells like she's been setting for a little bit. But the dash is straight. It's not all freaking cracked up and beat up from the Florida heat. The interior is really not like, there's a couple splits in the driver's seat we'll show you over there, but I mean, like, the passenger seat's straight, the back seats are the same way, the door cards are all here. As you can see, there ain't a bunch of rust in the rockers and whatnot. It came with a bunch of extra parts and whatnot. This is the bumper, the impact bumper, reinforcement, whatever, that we sourced. I had to order that thing on eBay because we're gonna have to cut the original one off and re-weld the new one in, and we could not find one around here locally anywhere. And I found one in a junkyard in Jacksonville, and it was hurt in the exact same position that this one is, so that was friggin' pointless. So we ended up sourcing this one off eBay. It came all the way from Lithuania for us, okay? So we got an Eastern European bumper on this thing now, or we will have. But like I said, the interior is not in bad shape at all. It's not tore up. Even the backside's not all split up and everything. Door cards in the back are perfectly fine. All the locks work. The wood grain's not all beat up. Hell, this wood grain's in better shape than the one of my 430 is. Goodness. That's crazy. Again, no rust on the rocker panels and everything. Missing a couple of these little plastic doohickeys here, but we'll get those at some point. Ain't no big deal. Oop. Oh, I moved it. The trunk area is pretty well straight. You want to hold that up for a second? Yeah. Trunk area is pretty well straight. We've got a hot battery in there, just so we can get to working on things. We had to move it around, so we had to be able to unlock the steering wheel. We got a full-size spare in there, I do believe. Yeah, I don't know what the wheel looks like. It may just be a Steely in there, but I mean, there isn't a bunch of, we got a little bit of a leak here, it looks like, coming from somewhere. This weather we've had recently, I don't know where that's coming in from. We'll have to hunt that down. It's only on that side though, it looks like.
Oh, Mercedes.
Yeah, we're not sure where that's coming in. We'll have to hunt that down. Try to figure out how we can seal that up. We'll have to oil this up real good. It doesn't want to latch. It may be, I think these are electric, so it probably isn't going to work right until we hook up the battery and whatnot. But it's not all rusty and everything. You can see the bottom of it is a little bit of rust in the battery pan, but not real bad. And over here it's straight too. Same thing on the passenger side in the back. Interior's in great shape. All the windows work in this thing. Not bad at all. Extra parts in there. Shop cat. And in here, like I said, you can see there's a little bit of splitting in the stitches on the driver's seat, and that's the only seat that's doing that. Everything else is nice and clean. Again, the dash isn't all cracked up. Steering wheel could use a little love. We'll get a steering wheel cover on there. Interior, or the center console's not all cracked up and whatnot. Got us a straight circa 2000s Pioneer CD player in here. Little bit of a split there. We could probably fix that, but that's like the only split in the entire interior. Again, rocker panels on here straight, no rust. She needs some new speakers. I don't think these are gonna be playing no Taylor Swift for you anytime soon, Olivia. But like I said, it was a real good deal. She needs a little bit of TLC. But I think it's going to be a real good project. These C230s are great. These 2.3 liter 4-cylinders from Mercedes back in the day it's a W202 engine. They're great. They just friggin' run forever as long as you take care of them. So we're going to get this one back into shape. Speaking of the W202. Well, I guess it had some water in that grill piece there. So anyway, there's the old W111 there. It's in good shape. Everything's complete. It's not missing no parts or nothing like that. Probably could, well, it's not super bad. It'll run long enough for us to get her fired up, and then we'll go from there. She needs some power steering fluid. I think the brake fluid was good over here, wasn't it? Yeah, it's got brake fluid in it. Checking on the fluids and whatnot. There's something on the dipstick, but it's pretty low, so we'll probably top it off just with some extra oil we got laying around before we try to spin her over or nothing. Yeah, it's definitely been in there for a little bit. I mean, it's still got viscosity. It'll be fine to fire it off that for a little bit, but we're not going to run it very long. And I don't know if the radiator's any good or not. It looks like it avoided the crash for the most part, but the coolant reservoir is bone friggin' dry, so I don't know if it just evaporated. It very well could have in this Florida heat over the course of 6 friggin' years, or the radiator got tagged a little bit and, you know, has a hole in it or something. So if that's the case, it's fine. We'll put a new radiator in it, no big deal. But everything's there. It looks complete. That hood's gonna really get on my nerves being so low. Goodness gracious. But it looks complete. We'll get it up on jack stands. Like I said, we're gonna have to drain that fuel tank. So I'll probably get a transfer pump, a little electric transfer pump or something, and we'll just stick it down in there, and get her pumped out and whatnot, fill it up with some fresh gas before we even attempt to put a fuel filter in it and everything. So we'll bring home an electric transfer pump after we get home from the day job, or after we get out from the day job, I should say, tomorrow, and we'll get that tank pumped out and whatnot. Then we can go ahead and just reinstall that new fuel pump that we have in there, and we'll be able to, you know, go on ahead and try to get this thing turned over. I guess we could spin it while the battery's in there just to make sure it ain't locked up or nothing like that. Yeah, let's do that. Let's spin her over just to make sure that everything's, you know, that nothing's locked up in here. Go ahead and hook our battery back up real quick. Ow. Did you leave the key in it? Okay, let me see. Oh God, it's adjusted for short people.
My bad.
Oh sweet Jesus, you moved it way up, didn't you? You see what I have to deal with here? Okay. Alright. So we're just gonna spin it over a minute and then we'll shut it right back off. Cool. Spins over. I didn't really hear any galloping or anything like that. Shush. So the compression should be fine. Even with having real low oil and whatnot, it spun over just fine. So we should be good as far as that goes. I'll make sure we leave it in park overnight and whatnot. Yeah. So it spun over real nice. I don't think there's going to be any issues with this engine being, you know, stuck, or the starter doesn't sound like it was in bad shape or anything like that either. So it should be good to go. So today we ended up just fighting to get this thing off from the yard here. You can see we had to air up the tires, and this is where it was sitting for the longest time. Had to pull it over that way with the 430 and then push it into place here. But unfortunately, it looks like we got some weather rolling in here. Some thunderstorms are supposed to be on their way tonight. Yeah, it's getting pretty stormy looking over there. Yeah, huh? Yeah. So it's getting pretty stormy looking out here. So I think we're gonna call it a night for tonight. We've been fighting this thing to get it over there into place and get everything, you know, around for about the last hour and a half. It was a little bit of an ordeal, okay, you know, but we got it there. So tomorrow we'll bring home a electric transfer pump. We'll get that old tank pumped out from all that old 6-year-old gas that's sitting in there, and we'll go ahead and put that fresh fuel pump in there, put 5-10 gallons of gas in it or something like that, and then we should be able to make sure it's going to fire. The biggest thing right now is getting that fuel tank emptied out, and then we can, you know, make sure that everything else is going to be good. But we got some goodies on the way from Rock Auto. It's going to be like Christmas morning with this thing over here. So y'all hold tight, and we'll be back tomorrow afternoon when we get home from the day job, and we'll move forward on this, pumping that old gas out of the old girl here. Okay, so it's a new day. We're back out here with the C230. We've been dodging rain for the last like 2 days, and we finally got a little bit of dry weather out here. So we're gonna move forward this evening. Ain't got a whole lot of daylight left, but should have enough time to be able to get the old fuel drained out of this fuel tank here. We do have a new fuel pump and fuel filter to install on it, but we got to get all this old nasty gas out of there. It's been sitting in there since 2018 first. So first things first, we're gonna get up underneath there, and the fuel tank hookup with the fuel pump and the fuel filter is kind of directly behind the right rear tire over here. So what we're going to do, it really wouldn't gain us any you know, extra room or whatever to remove the tire. So we're just gonna, we got her up on jack stands and everything, and we're just gonna get up underneath and try to pull the fuel line coming into the, let me see, the fuel line going into the fuel pump. Yeah, that should get us a direct line right down into the fuel tank. And we got us a big bucket. We will we'll try to pour off anything that's in the tank, and we got a siphon pump. If it slows down from there, we can try to pull as much of it out as possible, and then what we'll do is refill it with like some fresh gas, 5-10 gallons of fresh gas and whatnot. So let's get y'all under there and show you what we're going to be dealing with this fuel pump and fuel filter. All right, so if you go around to the back of the car here, it's the easiest place to see it. There we are. So right rear tire, if you look up in there, there is our fuel pump, the smaller one, and the fuel filter. So what we're going to do is unhook the line going into the fuel pump, coming out of the fuel tank, and we will try to drain off as much of this old fuel as we can from there. Okay, and it looks like we're just going to need, I think it's an 8mm, something like that. Yeah. Where's the one actually coming out of the fuel tank? That's that one there. So we're going to need to take off that one. Okay, so there's a smaller line. I'm assuming that's the return line probably. And then there's a bigger line coming out of the fuel tank directly. That's the one we're going to want to take loose. So let's go get a flat blade screwdriver. Okay, so we've got our flat blade screwdriver here. We've got a 12-quart drain pan. I doubt that'll be enough to, I don't know how much fuel's in this thing. W, did you happen to check the fuel gauge the other day?
Yeah, it said empty.
It said empty?
Yeah, but...
Well, that would be awesome. That'd be super awesome. We're gonna assume there's something in there though.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. So we're gonna take that line off of the fuel pump. Okay. Now, we've got a drain pan here. It may, I don't know how much gas is in there. For all I know, fuel gauge doesn't even work. So we're gonna plan for disaster. Okay, so I got our drain pan. If this starts to fill up, we'll just hook the fuel line back up to empty it off. I do have a 5-gallon bucket, but the 5-gallon bucket isn't gonna fit under here, obviously. So we will cross that bridge when we come to it, I reckon. But for now, let's see. Here we go, taking the fuel line off. I think your fuel gauge is wrong. Oh, it's flashing me. Oh, maybe not. It's slowing down already. Hey, I know you like to do arts and crafts and paint, so if you need any paint thinner to clean your brushes with, I know where we can get some. Because that's about what this fuel is by now. It's brown, man. Gasoline's not supposed to be brown.
I can also tell by the smell.
Oh my god, it smells like crap. Brand new fuel actually smells pretty good. I enjoy the smell, especially some racing fuel. But this stuff is a little worse for the wear right now. Okay, well, I think that's about all she wrote there, so I'm just going to let that sit there and drip as much as it can. That way, whenever we put 5 or 10 gallons of new gas in here, you know, there will be very, very little of that. And we may end up having to change out a fuel filter. You know, it may get clogged with crap that's in here, but I'd rather it be in the fuel filter than in the fuel system. So, now that we got that undone, and it's not going to be pumping any fuel. This fuel pump, I'm pretty sure, is dead completely. That's why we have a brand new one. So what we're going to do right now is hook the hot battery back up to it. Let's get back up top and I'll finish talking about this. I'm tired of breathing this turpentine. Oh my god, it's bad. But the fuel lines are in good shape though. Oh, fresh air. Oh my goodness. So, oh yes, yes. Mercedes on the Mercedes. No, you don't want no pets from me right now, girl. So, we got that fuel line unhooked. I don't think there's a whole lot of gas in there. It came to a pretty quick stop on the drain. So what we're gonna do now, I'm gonna hook the hot battery back up to it, and we're gonna get inside and we're just gonna roll the engine over a little bit just to try to build some extra oil pressure. It is pretty low. Hey Olivia, grab them 2 quarts of that fresh oil I bought yesterday too. Both of them. We got some fresh oil, just some store brand Tractor Supply oil. We're gonna dump that in there, and because it's pretty low on the dipstick. So then we're gonna roll the engine over a bunch with just on the batteries, or the battery, and that should help it build oil pressure and whatnot. And then maybe, if we're lucky, if we still got enough light here, we might spray a little bit of brake parts cleaner in the intake and just see if the old girl will bark off a couple times, you know what I mean? So let's first let's get that battery hooked back up. Freaking batteries in the trunks. I love Mercedes, but I don't never understand the batteries in the trunk thing. Okay. All right. Oh. No, you're good. All right, so we got the battery hooked back up. Let's go back around to the front here. Get this hood popped up. It's a little bit of a process right now with this hood being jacked up the way it is. You gotta like reach through and push on the hood latch. But we'll get that fixed. We'll get that fixed. Okay. So let's oh, we're gonna, yeah, you're gonna need a new oil cap. That thing is like, it's like destroyed. That like completely fell apart. Probably just from the heat and
Sitting.
I like to cut myself on plastic, for goodness sake. Jesus. Alright. Gonna grab that other one there. Do the first one here and then we'll check the dipstick. See where we're at. But I mean, there ain't a lick of oil on the dipstick, so I guarantee this thing's probably at least a couple quarts low. And again, this isn't what we're going to be running in this thing. This is just some conventional oil. We just need something in there to, yeah, just to work on getting it fired up. Whenever we get to driving it, it'll be getting the pampered treatment, you know, a man fleece filter and full synthetic Euro oil, either Mobil 1 or Liquid Moly, something like that. Boy, I'll be dipped if that thing still ain't freaking anywhere on the. Let me see here. Oh, I maybe see a little bit. Yeah, go ahead and pour that other one in there. Huh? Yeah. God, look at all that you spilled.
Make fun of me.
It ain't like coming right back out the other end, is it?
Oh, I think
I don't think so. Alright, just making sure, you know. There you go. I gotta get you a new oil dipstick too. This thing's a little. Hey, now we got some oil on the dipstick there. Enough to practice run at least, you know. Yeah. There we go. Right in the middle there, and it's going to drain down a little bit more too, so that should be plenty to do what we need to do. Yeah. Okay. Ow. I told you. It's going to be a bunch of times.
Put strike.
Yeah.
Strike count.
Alright, so now we'll go sit down inside and turn the engine over a bunch, try to make sure we build oil pressure up here at the top of the motor. Alright, go ahead and sit down in there and make sure it's in park. God, no, that door freaking just keeps on going, don't it? If I tell you to stop, just turn the key the opposite direction all the way. Yeah, don't let it sit there and try to run like that. Just turn it over and then
like quick crank.
Yeah, just so that it's not messing around with the fuel pump and all that stuff like that. But you can let it turn over more. Just whenever you go to let go of it, just roll it all the way back. All right, go ahead.
Do this when you need me to stop.
Okay. What the hell?
It did something.
So I think there's some fuel in the system still. She wants to run. I don't care if it's been sitting since 2018 or not. That sucker wants to run, man. Oh my God, it smells like old nasty gas. Oh, it's even worse now. Oh my goodness. I bet there was some in the fuel filter still. I bet is what it was. Yeah, I bet that's exactly what that was. So let me open up the throttle body and we'll spray some brake parts cleaner down in there, just that way it's running on something other than that horrible gas.
Yeah.
Y'all have to never mind the sounds that the yard raptors make over there in the background. I promise you, they're pampered and spoiled, but goodness, it sounds like somebody's murdering them sometimes. Yeah, she does that sometimes. So what we're going to be doing is just taking this intake pipe off, and that's cool. That's supposed to be tight. Yeah, it's really not. We'll just finish loosening it up the rest of the way. I'm wondering if somebody was monkeying around with this already, because that was awfully loose.
What?
Oh, you know what? I think he said he did.
Try to drink with it a bit.
The previous owner, the guy we bought it from, now that I remember, he did say, take your PCV hose off. He did say that he had a gentleman come out. I guess we really don't have to take that end off. said he had a gentleman come out and look at it and tried to start it off brake parts cleaner or whatever, and it fired. And so I guess the guy was interested in it, but then he never showed back up to go any further than that. So you know, then Southern Motor Works showed up with a trailer and cash in hand, and here we are. Okay.
You need a tool belt at this point.
I know. Yeah. So, oh, it's still a, is it a digital? Nope. Yeah, it is a digital. So it's a fly-by-wire throttle body still. Okay. I wonder which one's the more flammable. Well, this one says professional formula, so we're gonna go with that one. So that's what we are here, professionals. Oh, lost that cap. Oh, nope, yeah, no, it's lost. Yeah. Where did that go? All right, so we got the 98 C230 here. First start since 2018. Been setting for 6 years. Push the gas pedal down. Oh no, never mind. It's a yeah, fly-by-wire. Let's see if she'll fire off. Go ahead and turn the key. It did not like that. It did not like that at all. She just spit it right back out at us. We're gonna let that clear out a minute.
Oh my goodness.
I wonder if that was not flammable. I don't see extremely flammable on here anywhere. Go sit down in there with the key on, key in. I'm just gonna give it just a little, like, you know. Yeah, just a hair. Just a hair. That's all she's getting. All right, go ahead and try it. There we go. All right, so that's pretty cool. It will bark off with the brake parts cleaner with no problem. We used the Super Tech. Just so y'all know, if you go down to the Tractor Supply and you get the Traveler Professional Formula, it is not professional formula, okay? Because as everybody knows, all of us professionals prefer the highly toxic and flammable stuff. And this will not burn. Garbage. But it barks off with the Super Tech brake but it barks off with no problem with the old Super Tech brake parts cleaner on there. So that's good to know. So now we know that the ignition's working, the ECU's firing and whatnot. Spark plugs, even if they're 6 years old and been setting, they fire off with no problem. So I think in order to hear this thing sit here and idle and run and move on to the next step, all we really need to do is replace the fuel filter and fuel pump and put some fresh gas in her. So this is going to be a little bit easier than what we anticipated. So I was half wondering if ignition problems were going to be, you know, plaguing us, but I mean, it barks right off. I mean, as soon as you hit that key, it rolls over maybe twice before it's trying to fire off that brake parts cleaner. So
She just needs a new juice box.
Just needs a new juice box. So I'm excited now. That first little puff of the engine there reinvigorates you, you know what I mean? Now you're like, now we're ready to friggin' go, man. Let's get to it. So what we're gonna do for the night is go ahead and just call it an evening. We're gonna let that fuel sit there and drain out all night. I don't think it's just gonna sit there and drip, so maybe we'll evaporate some of it out of there. And we've got one fresh fuel filter. We might order up a second one just so we got a couple on hand, because I have a feeling it's gonna clog up that first one pretty good with all that old crap in there. So we're gonna call it a night there, and we will see y'all tomorrow in the morning, and we'll continue on with this fuel system revamp on the old C230. All right, y'all hang tight. All right, we're back again. It's a new day. We've got our fuel pump here and nice Bosch fuel filter. Like I said, these were in the car already. The previous owner had purchased them. Guy, I'm trying to film over here. Previous owner had purchased them, and they're just kind of a fuel filter is good Bosch quality. This is just an OEM fuel filter or a fuel pump here from TRQ. It's like the sort of thing you get on probably Amazon or something like that. So it's perfectly fine. It'll work great for what we need it to do. So we've been letting the tank drain all night. I don't think it even, barely. I'm fixing to go make some fried chicken. It barely put any in the bottom of our drain pan, so there wasn't a whole lot of gas in there whatsoever, which is fine for us because that means less old gas that'll, be sitting in there, and less old gas that was, in the bottom of the tank to turn to turpentine and whatnot. So we're gonna go ahead and put our new fuel pump in, new fuel filter, and then what we'll do is run down to the gas station and grab us like 5 gallons of fresh new 93 octane, throw it in there, and the old girl should be ready to run. So let's get under there, get this fuel pump fuel filter replaced. Oh yeah, there wasn't hardly any fuel in there at all.
Was it good enough for the gas tank to be like empty?
Yeah.
Which is good.
All right, so we've got our main fuel line going into the fuel pump there disconnected, so we just need to get the return line off here. That's the smaller one off to the side of the bigger one coming directly out of the fuel tank. And we'll show you top side there once we get it off, what you're going to be looking for on these lines, just so you know which one's which and whatnot. The lines actually seem to be in decent shape. I was kind of worried
that would have been decayed.
Yeah, that they would be all tore up from setting, but they're actually in pretty good shape here. They're not even really stuck too bad on this fuel pump neither. That's a good thing. What we're going to do is unhook the lines first, and then we will take the bracket off that's actually holding them, because what I don't want to do is be fighting these friggin' lines here and not have the bracket attached, because then they're just going to be flopping all over the place and whatnot. This is my Olympic contortionist pose in order to get things done underneath the little car, in case y'all was wondering. Tiny little amount of fuel pressure in it still from the fuel filter, I would imagine. There's the fuel out of the fuel filter. Okay. And last one we need to unhook goes from the fuel pump to the fuel filter here. Okay. We'll set that one down right there. That goes from the fuel pump to the fuel filter. Alright, that's all of our lines disconnected. I think it's a Phillips head screw in there that holds this on there. Holds the bracket on there. Yeah, pretty sure. We'll get that undone and unplug our fuel line, or fuel pump rather, from the sending unit in the fuel tank. Let me see what we're dealing with here. Yep, it's a Phillips head screw. Well, this flat blade might be small enough to get it. Now, let's go into the trunk, and I think we have to unplug the fuel pump from inside there. Maybe. And now, got a dog. Got the treasure trove in here. Look at this. Old oil filter wrench, bunch of old wrenches and stuff. Goodness gracious. I love when I find mystery tools. What do we have here for a spare? That's a full-size spare. Wow. Hey, there's the missing 3 from the outside of the vehicle. We'll put that back on. There's a cockroach. Yeah, that's a full-size spare. Alright, we're going to pull that full-size spare out of here. Daggum, look at that. How often do you find a full-size spare on a vehicle nowadays? It's like freaking never. Oh man, somebody must have been doing, he was doing the burnouts on the old girl. So that's slickered in the rear end of a cat. Okay, what is that? That's a vent tube. Is that it there? I do believe so. Well, how does it unplug? What in the world? Well, it does come through the bulkhead for the trunk here, and then it plugs right into this. Just trying to, oh, okay, so you squeeze the sides of this here, and that releases it. And then we're gonna have to get a flat blade screwdriver and like shove this rubber grommet through the bulkhead, the floor of the trunk here. Then we'll put the new one back in, shove it up here the same way, and it just plugs right in here. So this is a little setup to hold all your relays and whatnot and hold everything nice and secure. So that's pretty cool. Ow. Try to push this little rubber grommet back through the bulkhead here. Oh, well, that was easier than what I anticipated. So, that's all there is to it. All right, so now we'll go back bottom side and start reinstalling our new fuel pump and fuel filter. We'll get them situated and then we'll connect the lines and everything, but we'll stab that up through there first so we can go ahead and reconnect it. Let's disconnect this battery while we're working on it, eh? Just for safety's sake, you know. Whew. We got some weather trying to roll in from the ocean side here. All right, so I'm gonna get that one out of there. Fuel pump out. We'll go ahead and move this way. Set that in there like that with your 2 return lines facing towards the driver's side of the vehicle. Olivia, you want to grab it from the top side there? You got it? Okay. Just don't let it fall back through. Now getting the rubber grommet in there may be the most difficult part about this. Oh, never mind. Is it in? Okay. Go ahead and stick our lines back in. We're not worried about putting the hose clamps on them right this second, but we're gonna go ahead and get them lined up. Do not forget to take your the little covers off of the fuel inlets and outlets. It's easy to do. Okay, now we want to make sure we get our, again, pull the covers off the little tips. make sure we get our flow direction right. Flow direction is going to go towards the big end of the cam. So you're going to want your line that's coming out of your fuel pump to go into the inlet, and then it flows into this line that goes further down into the vehicle and whatnot. Okie doke. We might have to go inside here pretty soon. Where is our little screw for that bracket? Nope, I got it. Got our bracket tightened up. Go ahead and tighten down all of our little hose clamps on our fuel lines. Okay, that's all on there. Let's go back top side and get our fuel pump plugged in. Alright, so it's getting a little dark out here, but we've got our rubber grommet in there securely. That's our line from our new fuel pump. So we're just going to go ahead and plug it straight down into there. There's only one way it'll go, so that's nice and secure. When it pops like that, it's clicked in there good. Alright, so now what we're going to do, run down to the gas station, get some fresh gas for it and whatnot, but we may have to dodge the rain a little bit here. Got some bad storms coming in off the ocean and whatnot here, so we may end up you know, like I said, dodging some of this weather, but we need fresh gas in it anyway. Fuel pump and fuel filters installed, so we'll be right back with hopefully 5 gallons of 93 octane. All right, so we're back with 5 gallons of 93 octane as soon as you come out here. So we're gonna go ahead, get her filled up with this fresh gas, if we can, with these funky freaking new gas tanks here. I don't think that's gonna work. We're gonna have to stick a funnel in it first. Okay, so we've got our makeshift fuel delivery system here going on. These stupid new gas tanks, or gas jugs here, I swear. Whatever happened to just a simple one with a long enough spout on it that you could reach inside the fuel tank? There we go. 5 gallons in finally. Right, go wash your hands.
Yeah, this has got my gut.
Yeah, go wash your hands with the cherry bomb. Yeah. All right, got all that fuel cleaned up that we spilled all over the place. We install our fuel cap. We'll be right back. Okay. No leaks or anything under there?
Yeah, no leaks.
Okay. All right. So we've got it filled up with 5 gallons of fresh gas, and so now we're going to go ahead and reconnect the battery and try to see if she'll run under her own power for the first time in 6 years. We're going to go ahead and just set that intake pipe back on there for now. Reconnect that PCV hose for the time being. Alright. Alright. If I tell you to stop, just shut it off immediately, okay? Alright, go ahead and try to fire it up. Actually, turn the key, don't start it, but turn the key to the on position. We should hear that fuel pump. Yeah. Okay, so we had to put a new battery in it. For some reason our battery died overnight. We left it hooked up, and there must be something drawing power off of it because it was down to like 1.98 volts. So we'll have to figure that out. But we got another hot battery in there. We'll take that other one and put it on the charger overnight. But anyway, for now, let's go ahead and make sure that our fuel pump is priming up, and that the old girl's gonna fire up and run under her own power today. Oh, all right, go ahead and put the key in there and turn it to the on position. Let's listen for the fuel pump. Yeah. Turn it back off. Let it set for a second. All right, turn it to the on position again. Might have to cycle it off and on a couple times to try to prime up the fuel system. All right, go ahead and try to start it. Do it again. It'll take a few times, probably. Is the fuel gauge reading any fuel? We're going to take it off the jack stands, and we'll see if maybe, since there's only 5 gallons of gas in there, we'll make sure, because it has a saddle tank in here, so we'll level it out and make sure that it's not just all the fuel in one side. Oh, we might have spoke too soon.
Jinxed it.
Get in there and be ready to turn the key off. Oh, she's still a little. Alright, so as y'all can see, fires right up. Now it is idling a little rough. It may just need a tune up or something, you know. Like I said, we got a whole goodie box coming from Rock Auto, but I was gonna try to let it sit here and run a little bit longer, but it just dawned on me that there's no coolant in this engine whatsoever. So we're gonna go get a bunch of gallons of just regular water for right now while we're working on it and testing on it. We're just gonna fill up the system with coolant, or with water, and then once we know that it's running and driving and whatnot, we'll go ahead and fill it up with actual coolant and whatnot. But yeah, it's running and idling pretty smooth. Once it starts to idle down, once the engine gets a little heat in it, it starts to idle down a little bit. It seems like it's running a little rough in there. So like I said, it could need a tune-up, could be spark plugs, ignition coils, something like that. But it is running. It is running. There's no freaking rod knocking. There's no, you know, funky noises coming from, you know, the accessory drive, nothing like that. It seems to be running pretty good. So let's get some coolant in it and we'll run her a little bit longer. Oh, the friggin' radiator hose was off. What the hell? Who friggin' left that off? Yeah. Okay. So that would have been bad to figure out once we got the engine warm. You want to get me one of the flat blade screwdrivers, please? Somebody had the radiator off for some reason. I don't know why they would have done that. The rest of them seem to be tight. We will tighten this one back up, and hopefully that's not a problem, but maybe he drained the radiator for the winter to keep it from freezing if he had regular water in it. I mean, it was close to Alabama up there. It gets pretty cold out in them cotton fields and peanut fields out there. Nah, it's all good. It's just water. Okay, so we got that one back on there. Okay, let's try filling it up a little more. So, it's got something in the coolant system at least, so. Ow. It's like 3. Is it 3? Only 3? I thought it was more than 3 so far.
No. Unless you want to count the back hatch.
Oh my goodness. Let me go. We'll get one more put in there. Alright, so we've got a second jug of coolant here. And put in just to make sure that we got plenty of coolant in the system. Last thing we want to do is overheat anything. I don't see a whole lot of rust or stuff like that down there in the system either. Doesn't seem to be too awful bad. Alright, we'll call it good there for now on the coolant, or the water rather. And I'm going to put a little bit of power steering in here because I heard it winding and it is completely empty. Funny enough, that's like the exact same power steering reservoir as on our MLs. So that's identical to the 430. Okay, now we've got some on the dipstick there. You know we've got pretty good oil for the most part. Yep, that's still good. Is our brake fluid alright? Oh yeah, brake fluid's good. Okay. Alright, see if we can run it for a little bit longer now. Alright, go ahead and start it up, or try to.
Let me know when you want me to stop.
Yep.
Ready?
Yep, go ahead. See how it wants to die?
Yeah.
You're gonna have to give her just a little gas when it starts to die down like that.
Alright.
Don't like wow on it, you know what I mean? Just a little bit.
Again?
Yeah, you can go ahead. Stop. If it makes that noise, just stop immediately. That starter is going out. The starter is a little worse for the wear, so something we'll have to replace in the future. Go ahead. It's running. It just doesn't want to idle down too good. Let me get under there. Alright, so where we're at is it's running. It definitely doesn't want to stay idling right now. As soon as the engine goes to idle down, it wants to die out. So we're gonna grab the computer real quick, hook our computer up to it real quick, and see if it's got any stored codes. Might lead us in some kind of direction there. Okay, so we've got our MB2 from iCarSoft here, ready to go, and we're gonna try to read the W202 in this, and see if we can see any code stored. But you know what? This may not do. This older C class here, I think this only does W203s and up. Starts at C class. We'll try that one to see. Yeah, it doesn't do ours. Well, that's disappointing. We'll try that and see. I doubt it'll read it. That's for a 230 compressor. Yeah, that's not going to go through because it's the wrong one. So unfortunately we'll just have to go to the regular OBD2 on this device. But that's fine. We should still be able to get some generic codes out of it if it has some stored in the, if it's got any DTC stored in the system. And we have 4 of them. Okay. See what we're looking at here. Fuel level sensor A circuit, that's for the sending unit, is not working. Evap system, we're not worried about that. Mass or volume airflow, circuit A. Cylinder 4 misfire detected, so that would probably be why she won't run. So we will pull cylinder 4 out and see how that spark plug's looking. It may be a little worse for the wear. I'm going to leave these codes in here for now, so we may have to get a mass airflow sensor for it. But let's check out cylinder 4 first and see where that leads us. Okay, so we're back at it again with the C230. So yesterday you saw us starting it up and having it run and whatnot, but it kept dying at idle. And then we put the computer on it and we were getting a mass airflow code and a cylinder 4 misfire code. So what we're going to do today, we have some extra parts on order. We got new coil packs on order. We got new MAF sensor on order. What we're going to do today is go ahead and just take this engine cover off. We're going to pop number 4 cylinder out of it, or pop the cylinder out. Yeah, we're going to pop the whole cylinder out. We're going to pop number 4 coil pack off and spark plug and take a look and just kind of see what they look like there. So first thing we got is some Allen head bolts, and then there's some 10 millimeters to hold this engine cover on. this up and over there. Oh, we actually don't even have to remove the 10mm bolts. Their coil packs are right there. I'll get that plug for the MAF out of the way. I don't see any chewed wires or anything. Let's get y'all in there. I don't see any chewed wires or anything like that in here. Now this is what you call, it has 2 coil packs for 4 spark plugs. Okay, this isn't like the M112 and M113 series engines from Mercedes where they had dual spark designs on the V6 and the V8, like our 430 over here. This is what's called a wasted spark design, is what some people call it. But basically, there's 1 coil pack that shoots fire to 2 spark plugs. Okay, the 1 spark plug is directly underneath it. The other spark plug is powered by this coil, or spark plug wire here rather. So it comes, the power comes to number 4 spark plug directly off the coil, and then it goes to number 1, right? Yeah, goes to number 1 via this long spark plug wire here. And the second coil does the same thing. It powers cylinders 2 and 3. It powers cylinder 2 directly and cylinder 3 by another spark plug wire. So this is the one that seems to be giving us the misfire code right now. So we're going to pull the coil pack off of cylinder 4 and see what it looks like down inside there. All right, let's see what we're going to need here. We've got some inverted Torx bits. I'll go ahead and unplug that spark plug wire there for number 1 cylinder. We got some inverted Torx bits. We could probably use the 10mm. It's either a 10 or I think it's an 8. Yeah, 8mm works on that. So bear with us a second. Yep. So it is a, did I just feel that right? It's a number, it's an 8mm socket, works on these torque bits. Okay. That one's completely loose. Wonder if maybe that had anything to do with it.
I bet there's screws.
Maybe not. We'll check the next one and see if it's super loose too. But I mean, even without it being super tight on there, it should have still been holding it tight enough to.
I think the guy checked it, but didn't screw it down all the way.
I don't know, it's possible. Somebody might have been messing around with it and didn't tighten it back down all the way. Yeah, that was probably down on there good enough to do its job at least. Well, it's not soaked with oil, so that's a good thing. Y'all know on these dual overhead cams, single overhead cam, 4 cylinders, when the valve cover gaskets start going, or if it has individual oil seal rings on it, the valley up here on top of the head will be covered in oil, and the spark plug holes will be covered in oil. See if those are loose or tight. Yeah, the front ones are loose as all get out too. Well, that one's not giving us any trouble, so we're going to go ahead and tighten those down. Now, I have no idea what size spark plug socket that is, so we'll find this one and take a gander there and see what's up with it. Alright, so just for the record, so y'all know, the spark plugs in this engine are 16mm or a 5/8 standard if you're using Freedom sizes. Well, that spark plug's in there. A little bit tighter than I would ever recommend having a spark plug. Do these not have the little rubber doohickey to hold on to the spark plug? Okay, so we got our spark plug out there, and they're definitely, I don't know if y'all can see that on camera here. Let me see. The diode is pretty well worn out on there. So like I said, we've got new plugs on the way. I would think that that would still fire somewhat. So what we're going to do is we'll clean this up, and then we will swap the coil packs and clear the codes first, swap the coil packs, and then see if our misfire follows suit. And these are super old. And somebody put auto light spark plug. If you're driving a Mercedes-Benz and you put auto light friggin' plugs in it, I swear I'm gonna find you. Cheap frickin' Chinese crap in a Mercedes. Goodness freaking gracious. We'll clean this one off real quick. A little of this professional brake parts cleaner here. Okay, that's looking a little better there. Alright, so we'll dry this off, pop it back in there. Okay, and again, we're not gonna, like I always tell y'all, we're not gonna over tighten. All you need right there. So what we're gonna do now is take our coil pack that controls number 4 and number 1 cylinder, and we are going to swap it with our coil pack that controls number 2 and number 3 cylinder. And then we're going to go inside the car and we're going to clear the codes, and then we're going to fire it back up and see if the code follows it. And if it does, then we know our coil is no good. And we can also, if you definitely wanted to, we could ohm out the coil pack and be able to tell from the ohm resistance, tell whether the coil pack was bad or good in that manner also. But we're just going to do this method for now. If we need to do it the other way, we can do it the other way, but for now we're just going to do it this way. Alright, so now we're not going to worry about putting we'll just set the engine cover back on there for right now. Go ahead and plug our MAP sensor back in. Reinstall this, just so we know there's no other variables here. Plug our PCV line back in. Okay, now everything is exactly the same as it was yesterday. Alright, so let's clear some tools off the front of the engine here, and we'll go fire it up. And actually we'll go clear our codes first, and then we'll go fire it up and see if the code follows. Okay, so right now the only codes that are showing are for the sending unit, the fuel tank that we know is no good, and an evap code. So it's because the misfire codes are a continuously monitored code, so we actually have to be running the engine to see those. So we'll go ahead and start it up for now. Okay, so strangely enough, our cylinder misfire code didn't come back up, but our MAP sensor code did. Let's try starting it one more time. A little rough, but it's idling. I mean, she's not running great at idle, but it's idling, and the cylinder 4 misfire is not coming back, so we'll let the computer run again. But it was idling. I mean, it was idling rough, but it wasn't dying out. it seems like if you hold the RPMs up for a few seconds and then let go of the throttle, it wants to idle. It's idling rough still, but we're not getting the cylinder 4 misfire code back. The only thing that keeps showing up is the mass airflow sensor code. So I'm wondering if the whole problem is just the mass airflow sensor. That's the only thing that's coming back. We're not getting any misfire codes right now. So I think we're just going to call it good for right now. We have new coil packs in the mail on the way, and we're going to replace those anyways, just because you know, she's getting the pamper treatment, y'all. Okay, but the mass airflow sensor, I think, is actually the root cause of the rough idle right now. But it was idling, albeit rough. She was idling, and it was starting to build temperature too. So let's we'll go ahead and try to fire it up and see if we can let her run for a few more seconds here. Yeah, the only codes that are in there are P0460 for our sending unit in the fuel tank, P0450, the evap thing that like half of our vehicles have on them currently, and P0100 for mass or volume airflow A circuit. So I think it's safe to say that the mass airflow sensor is the actual problem with it idling rough. One of those is inbound, be here in a few days, and a day or two after that, a whole mess of brand new stuff from Rock Auto is going to be here. So I think we're going to call it a night for that. It's about dusk. We're going to go inside and get us some dinner. And tomorrow we get home from the day job. While we're waiting on parts to get here in the mail from for the engine and whatnot, what we can go ahead and start working on is putting the new hood and the new fender on here, and the new impact bumper up front with the front clip and everything. We can go ahead and start getting all the old twisted metal cut off and get everything fixed up to where we can, you know, get it looking pretty nice here and whatnot. So we'll move on to that next while we're waiting on the old postal service to deliver us our engine parts. Alright, so we're back at it again on the C230. As you can see, we've got our new impact bumper for the front of the vehicle here. I'm gonna start trying to conduct a little bit of surgery on the front of this thing, and I think what we're going to do is cut the original impact bumper off in pieces. We'll cut it like here, 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 because what we have to do, originally I was thinking of slicing it this way like this. We're not going to be able to do that though, because if we do, we're going to be losing like an inch or so of all of the little support bars that run this way into the vehicle and actually hold this impact bumper up. So we're going to have to cut the impact bumper off in sections, get that out of the way, and then take off whatever little remaining bit is still spot welded to these supports coming off the front of the vehicle. I think that's going to be the only way we're going to be able to do it and get it even somewhat straight on here. The top pieces up here we can unbolt, and we'll be able to straighten them out and get these kinks out and whatnot. The good news is we have the passenger side over here, the right hand side of the vehicle, and it's completely straight still. So we can use this as a template to make this side not, you know, mangled. Okay, we got our scalpel here. So the first one we're going to cut, got to do it without. As y'all can hear, we're dodging rain again. Summertime's in Florida. The first cut we're going to do is right here. We're going to do one here and here, right around where the factory horn speaker is at. So we're going to have to be careful. And there's the wiring and sensor for the ambient temperature on the dashboard, where it tells you what the temperature is outside. So let's make our first cut right here. Then we'll make another cut right here. That'll get this section out of the way. Gotta move that horn wire out of the way. It's starting to get right in the way of the blade. First piece off. Okay, now y'all can kind of see here what I'm talking about, what we're going to have to do is try to peel off this portion of the original impact bumper off of the support bars. Alright, well, unfortunately, before we can move forward with getting this big center chunk out that's all tore up, we got to bend it down a little bit to be able to get these two small bolts right there so that we don't tear off the support and these lines and everything like that when we go to remove this chunk here. Okay, so we actually had to make a couple relief cuts on the little seam of this old impact bumper here, bend it down so that we could even get the 10mm and 8mm bolt out of there. Just not enough room with it all bent up the way it was. Alright. There we go. Whew. Alright, well, there we go. Finally got that portion out of there. She was stuck in there pretty good. Okay, so for this next portion here, we got a couple spot welds that are kind of hard to get to. I can't really get a drill on them. So what we're going to do is use a cutoff wheel and just go straight in there like that and up and under the spot welds. That should help us get them off there without too much trouble. Alright, so it's a couple days later. We're back out here on the C230. We actually had to take a couple days off and wait for that storm to pass there, Hurricane Debbie. Hopefully all of our fellow Floridians are safe and made it through all right and whatnot. And if not, y'all hold fast. Get rebuilt soon, alright? So anyway, so we took a couple days off. And we got a little bit more of a plan together. This bumper was just really kind of fighting us on these spot welds and whatnot. Different funky angles trying to get in there with the cutoff wheel and whatnot. So we got an idea together though. Alright. So what we're going to do is we're going to take and we're going to cut them in half like this. Unfold it. And that'll give us a chance to get to the spot welds on the inside. And then we should be able to take them right on off there. We can get to the spot welds up here like that. We can get to the spot welds here. It's just going to make everything so much easier. So. And we have some other tools to help us along here. We got a spot weld cutter. We got more cutoff wheels. And I might have to bust out the air hammer. We can use that to help split these things apart if we need to. But we got a plan together. Let's get it executed. Safety Vipers engaged. So we got us just a simple spot weld cutter from the old Harbor Freight there. I've used these before, they work pretty well. And the way these work is it's a spring loaded deal. When you get in there, you can see the little tip pushes in and cuts all the way around the spot weld. Yep, there you go. That's all there is to it. See, it drills right through the spot weld and you're all set. Now when we go to put this back on, what we can do from the back side is plug weld it, and that should hold everything nice and tight together. As y'all can see, here's all the spot welds that we had to drill out. We're using my drill light because we're almost out of light. But yeah, they spot weld the heck out of these things to hold them in there. So we'll plug weld and we'll probably run beads along the edge too, to really make sure that it's secure. But yeah, that's one side completely down. You can see where the new steel is going to fit right in there. So now all we got left is this corner over here, and she'll be all ready for the brand new impact bumper. Boy, but as y'all can see, we're almost out of daylight here. Had a late time getting home from the day job today, so tomorrow we're off from the day job, so we'll be able to spend the whole day out here. Go ahead and get the rest of this old impact bumper off, start fitting up the new one, and we got some new parts in the mail, about half of our package from Rock Auto, so the rest of it is incoming in about another day. So yeah, so we're gonna go get some grub, and we'll see y'all in the morning. Alright, so as y'all can see, we've got all the remnants of that old impact bumper off. That's a little worse for the wear in certain spots, but overall it's pretty well sturdy, all the support still. So we're going to clean this up a little bit with the old angle grinder and start fitting up that new bumper. But before we do that, one thing we want to do, we got us a new mass airflow sensor in the mail the other day. So we're going to try to go on ahead and put that in there. We'll hook the battery back up to it, and we're going to see if she's going to idle and, you know, hopefully get rid of that mass airflow sensor code that we had and the rough idle. So we're going to do that real quick because that'll be more entertaining than welding in an impact bumper. So we're going to go ahead and put our new mass airflow sensor in, and this is a quick 1-2 on these. It's not a complicated deal whatsoever. We just need a flat blade screwdriver. So we got a flat blade screwdriver. It's already loose from there on the old one. So unplug our wiring. Take this loose on this end. Then this side just has two clips, one on the top side, one on the bottom side. And then the whole sensor just lifts out of there just like that. So while she's getting the old one out, or the new one out rather, as you can see they're exactly the same. Make sure you put them in the same direction because these do have a particular flow direction. It could be, I don't know. This one is definitely tighter, so it should seal up better. Alright, so we'll put our little intake tube back on here. Tighten down our hose clamp on it. Okay. Put our PCV tube back in. Plug our sensor back in. Just like that. Mass airflow sensor replaced. Alright, so let's go hook the battery back up and we'll try to fire the old girl up and see if she's going to idle better now. Alright, everything's clear. Go on ahead and fire it back up. Hold on just a second. There's a vacuum tube. It looks like it's unplugged. We'll have to see if we can figure out where that vacuum tube is at. Anyway, alright, go ahead and try to fire it up. Shut it back off for a second. I forgot I need to clear the code on it real quick. Alright, go ahead and give it a try now that the codes are cleared. I can do it from up here. Well, we're not getting our mass airflow code back. It does seem to be idling a little smoother. It'll take throttle now and not die. It stumbled a little bit. I'm wondering if she still needs a tune-up. We got our coil packs and spark plugs on the way. Is that you making it go up and down? Okay, alright. I thought it was friggin' surging for a second there. But it is idling smoother. It stumbled a little bit when I was giving her gas back and forth, but it is idling smoother now. Maybe it just needs to, you know, get warmed up. I mean, she's been setting for 6 years, y'all. But like I said, it could need a tune-up also. We got our new plugs, coil packs and plugs coming in the mail. So once we get those in there and we know we've eliminated that from the possibilities, then we can look into, you know, diving deeper in it and see what all else might be wrong with it if it still continues to idle a little rough. But it is idling smooth right now though. Power steering pump's just a howling over there. So I'm thinking tomorrow when we get home from the day job, we'll put some air in the tires, try to take it for a ride around the yard, up and down the road here a little bit, just to make sure everything's gonna function properly with the transmission and whatnot. Make sure all the gears work and whatnot. I do it tonight, but the air, the tire in the, or the air in these old tires is done let out, so don't want to ride it around on the rim. All right, you can go ahead and shut it off. All right. Well, that's one problem fixed. Mass airflow sensor code didn't come back, so that's cured. So tomorrow we'll move on with we'll take her for a rip up and down the road a little bit with the, you know, hood all jacked up and missing the front fender and bumper and all that, because why not, right? All right, so we're back at it again with the C230. So unfortunately, we just got the rest of our parts in finally. UPS took a little while to get them here today, but so we're not going to be able to get as much done as we'd like to, but we're going to keep pushing forward on it anyway. So what we're going to go on ahead and tackle right now is the coil packs, the plug wires, and brand new spark plugs in it. That should clean up our idle and make sure everything's firing correctly in the ignition. And then probably when we get home tomorrow, we'll air up these tires, take her for a rip up and down the road real quick. But let's go ahead and get her some new ignition parts in there, make sure she's getting real good clean spark and whatnot. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and remove our air intake tube here again, just to get it out of the way so we can get down in on the top of the cylinder head here. Alright, we left this plate loose from the last time because we knew we were going to be back in here again. So first thing we're going to need is our 8mm to undo our coil packs here. Alright, we're going to do these one at a time, so there's no chance of us losing track of any sort of firing order or anything like that. Which would be pretty hard to do with the way these are designed anyway, but, you know, better safe than sorry. The first coil pack, the one closest to the front of the vehicle I should say, actually controls the cylinder 2 and 3 in the center here. There we go. Well, we got a little bit of oil on that one. It's not super bad. We may have a slight little oil leak around the spark plug well there. But we'll go ahead and replace it. I don't see a whole lot on the actual diode and whatnot there, so I think we'll be alright. I always just kind of double check to make sure we didn't get the wrong sort of parts in or nothing. Everything looks exactly the same. We're going to be using some Bosch Platinums in this. part number is going to be FR8KTC plus, and then there's 79003 plus 44, I guess. There's the UPC. All right. We're just going to get it finger tight and then just snug it down. That's all you need. So we got to crush that crush washer first, obviously. There we go. That's snugged. So now we're going to give her just a little. That's all you need. About 90 degrees. Be good to go. Alright, I'm going to take out number 3 here. Welcome to my world. So hold the other piece, hold it up there with your left hand. Just hold it still, and then just work it like a regular ratchet for right now. Yep. Feel it turn. Yep, just like that. Just do that a few times because these are pretty stuck in there, so you got to work it like a regular ratchet for a little bit until it's loose enough that the machine can get it out the rest of the way. Should be good now. You should just be able to lift it up out of there. Yep, still got the spark plug on it. Yeah, that one looks a little bit more burnt, and the gap on number 3, I don't know if y'all can see this here, is friggin' enormous. Good Lord have mercy. I ain't never seen a gap that big on a gasoline engine, especially not a little 2.34 cylinder. Goodness gracious. Well, it's going to be getting replaced with that, so that's going to hopefully clean things up a little bit. Yep, just like that. It's pretty hard to mess up these little 4 cylinders when it comes to putting plugs in them. They tend to start screwing in perfectly there. And then, like I said, all you do, because there's that little washer, the washer is made of a softer metal, and what it is it crushes down around the threads and stuff, and it seals off the spark plug. So what you have to do is crush that one. So see, we just got started there with it, and then all we do is just give it a little snug like that, and that's all you need. And that crushes that soft metal and makes it seal up. So for our parts here, we've just got some OEM replacements for our coil packs, plug wires, and plug boots that go on the bottom of the coil pack. So we just got some BWD here for coil packs. Trying to get the part number out here. That's going to be your part number there. Yeah. This is just a OEM replacement style coil pack. Should work just fine for this girl here. So we're going to go ahead and, and then as you can see, these coil packs, some come with them, some don't. These particular ones here didn't. And so you have to purchase a boot separately for it. It's kind of hard to see the part number, but that's the part number there. And so it's just a boot, plugs into the bottom of the coil pack just like that. You can feel a nice little electrical kind of plug in there whenever you squeeze it on. And then this goes onto the top of cylinder 2. Yeah, cylinder 2, just like that. So we're going to go ahead and bolt down that first coil pack there. And if you remember from the last time, if you don't have the proper Torx, inverted Torx socket to go over the top of these, we do. We just, these are out here already. It's an 8mm. Works on it just fine. So we're going to go ahead and tighten that down, and then we'll hook our plug wires up. And again, you don't need a whole lot of torque on these. They're literally just holding the coil packs in place. Plug in our coil or plug wire here. Yeah, you know what I mean. That's the ignition coming from the vehicle. Jesus. Alright. And then you got our new plug wires. Okay. So we got new plug wires here. Again, just some OEM quality parts. There's your part number there. Pro Start. Anyway, as long as it professionally starts this engine, that's perfectly fine with me. So, this one is going to go on to cylinder 3. Plugs in there nice and even. And then it plugs into the other side of the coil pack. Just like that. Alright. And we'll put in our little plug keeper here at the end. There's one down. Or two down, I guess. That one's definitely drier. Cylinder 1. That was not covered in a bunch of oil and stuff. But again, the gap is friggin' massive on these things. I don't know if they're just worn out or somebody set the gap like that, but that is enormous. See, this one here we cleaned up. This was cylinder 4 that we were originally getting a misfire on. But it may have just been a stored DTC, I don't know. But the gap on this one's still big, but it's not as big though, so. Alright, so we'll go ahead and get this. Skaters are starting up bad. So we'll air up that one tire that ain't holding air so that we can come back home tomorrow and take it for a rip up and down the road. So y'all hang tight. Alright, so it's the following day. Just going to try to shoot some air in this old dry rotted tire so we can wheel it around the yard a little bit. Hopefully. Alright, so we got that old tire all aired up. Looks to be holding air for the moment, so let's go ahead and hop in. Try to take this thing up and down the road a couple times and make sure that transmission's all good to go and whatnot. Oh yeah, that power steering pump is not happy.
That was a thing before.
What? I mean, she's doing the thing. I'm gonna have to like Ace Ventura this out the window here soon. She definitely needs some new pads, but they're there, you know. Oh, let me adjust that a little bit so I can actually see something. Oh, we just caught second gear. Woo! Let's maybe not go so fast with those like absolutely garbage tires that's on there.
Yeah, because you don't have enough grip.
No. No leaks. It's running perfect. So even though it's just a short trip up and down the road, Everything seems to be good. It's shifting. Temperature staying rock solid. No funky noises, no leaks. Brakes could use some new pads, but overall, not a bad little first test drive. Alright, so after our first successful test drive of the old C230 there, today and for the next little while, we're just going to be out here working on trying to straighten out the inner structure on these body panels here, so that we can get ready to put our new hood and new front fender and new front clip and everything on here. It's going to be a lot of hammering, a lot of, trying to flatten things out and whatnot, and we got to try to get everything pulled back into the shape it ought to be before we can attach our new impact bumper. So we'll probably go ahead and speed this up, and y'all can just watch the transformation happen here. Alright, so cue the music. Alright, so we've got just about all of our welding done on it. It's pretty darn sturdy. I can stand up on it and it doesn't even budge in the slightest little bit. So I think we're good on the welding. So we're almost out of daylight, unfortunately. Here it's getting mighty hard to weld. So we'll tomorrow when we get home from the day job, we'll hit it with the old flap disc, clean up the grinds a little bit, hit any low spots and whatnot that we might come across or whatever. But I think it's pretty darn sturdy. So we'll see y'all tomorrow, and we'll continue on getting this impact bumper ready to go. Alright, so it's a new day. We got our bumper all buttoned up and everything here. It's all painted, secured, that's all good to go. So the only thing we got left to do now is going ahead and start reassembly, putting the new parts on and everything. We got to get our new hood on there. We got to get our fender bolted in, our new fender bolted in, and then we'll be good to go. We can take her for a test drive up and down the road. It's going to be, I don't know which one this one goes to. It's that one. That one goes in there. Gotta get the hood latch mechanism and everything back up in here. Get a couple screws in here just to hold it while we line up the rest of it. Oh. Try the other screw that's up there. Alright, so unfortunately we were missing a little bit of the hardware for the fenders and whatnot. So we actually had to go out and buy some hardware at the local Lowe's. Just in case anybody needs to know, these are M6 100s, okay? Or 1.0s, whatever you want to call them. But that's the thread pitch and size and whatnot for the body bolts on this old girl. Now we don't want to tighten these down all the way. We're just going to get them going in there, and then we'll tighten everything down after we get the fender adjusted, as close as we can so our body lines aren't all out of whack. Now there's two more holes over here for the fender that you have to bolt down. There's one right inside the door jamb here, and then one on the bottom of the panel also. We're going to get our horn speakers back up in here real quick, our alarm speaker. We got to put our new to us headlight back in on this side, just in case anybody finds themselves rescuing a W202 out of a field somewhere. The plug with 3 prongs on it, that one's blocked off. That's going to go to your turn signal setup over here. So we're going to set that over here in the corner. The one with 4 prongs is going to be for your actual headlights and whatnot there. This one's going to need a little attention though. There's also body bolt holding the fender right here, right next to the turn signal too, so just be aware of that. Oh, you know what we're going to have to do though? The rest of the screws are missing for the headlight, so we're going to have to go to the random bolt box and try to find some screws that'll match. Be right back. Alright, so we found some screws that we think will work, but unfortunately this new headlight is missing the threaded receptacle for the top adjustment on the headlight. It's also what anchors it into the headlight bezel here, so we're going to have to figure out how to extract this one from this old banged up one and install it in the new headlight real quick. Alright, so we managed to get that out of there. That's what it looks like. Make sure you don't miss this little metal piece that slides up in there like so, because that is the actual threaded part that catches the screw. I think it just inserts in there, maybe. Or does it go that way? There it goes. Okay, alright. Let's try that one more again, huh? Alright, so new headlights. Alright, well, this one needs to be resurfaced, but new headlight, singular. So next up, we're going to be putting the new hood on, and then we can finally start to adjust our panel gap and everything, get that fender over there dialed in 100%. But we're she's getting there. She's getting there. Alright, let's get this old hood off. I think they're probably 10 millimeters. Yep. And also the windshield washer set up in there. Don't want to snatch all that stuff out. Alright, so we've got our windshield washer stuff pulled out of this old hood here. So what we're going to do now, go on ahead and just take these bolts loose, side by side, and get ready to throw this old thing out of there. Should make for some good wall art or something like that. Some kind of project out of it. Oh, I'll have to find that screw in a minute. Alright, let's walk it this way. You good?
Yeah, it's your block.
Ow. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and get the new hood on. We'll place it on there, and then we'll worry about trying to weave the the wiring and the hoses for the windshield washers and stuff through there. Let's go ahead and get it bolted into place first, then it'll be nice and secure and we can deal with all that. Alright, ready? Alright, same way we put the old one on, or took the old one off. Careful. Okay, so what you're going to do is just set it right up on top of that hinge in the general area. I'll hold it. You can get the screw started by hand. It's right there. All right, cool. Yeah, I was going to say the middle one. Probably get in there. Whew. Alright, let's see. Oh, shoot, yeah, just throw them in there. That's fine. How are we looking here? I don't want to close it all the way because I'm going to have to release it from inside. Not too bad. We can wiggle that a little bit on the side here. Not too bad at all. Not too friggin' bad for some shade tree mechanicking, you know what I'm saying? Alright. Damn, that looks good. Woo! Goodness gracious. She looks really good with the new hood on. So instead of weaving the tubes and the wiring for the windshield washers up into this replacement hood, what we're going to do is tomorrow I'll just get some, this is a goof plug here, I thought I had some but I don't. Tomorrow we'll bring home some little 1/4 inch barb fittings, I think is what it is. We'll use that to splice in the original hose from the windshield washer tank into the new hose that's already in there, and then the electrical just plugs in on a normal plug, so we'll plug that in. We'll be all set and we won't have to worry about trying to weave all that stuff up through the hood and everything and fighting it right and left. So next thing up, we're going to have to put the new bumper cover across the bottom. Alright, walk your way. Alright. Right over those bolt holes. Get the first one on the top. Get it started at least. This might require a little tweakage also. So just as we thought, the bolts on here are going to require a little bit of tweakage on these little tabs in order to get these on here in a reasonable fashion. Hang it up there and see what it looks like. I know your side's not going to be changed, but I'm just trying to see if this one, oh, well that works too. Alright, so got the bumper cover on, as you can tell. Unfortunately, it needs a little bit of tweakage. It's probably just everything's still, you know, it's, you know, she's twisted a little bit still, okay? Well, not like the frame or nothing twisted, but everything's just off a little bit still. So, we got everything else in there fitting pretty good. The hood opens and closes just fine. So this side over here, as you can see, is kind of popped up. Some of the bracing for it underneath here is a little off, and the bracing in this old new to us bumper cover here is a little tweaked also. So tomorrow we'll get some we're going to run some self tappers up under this, and then we'll cover it back up with the plastic so you can't really tell. But everything's done for right now except for the last couple things. We're going to put a new air filter in it, and we got new oil and an oil filter we're going to put in here too, do an oil change on the girl because I don't want to run it for any longer on that 6-year-old oil. But most importantly, tonight, look at that. Now we're missing a couple little trim pieces. We'll have to find them on like eBay or something like that, or maybe at a junkyard or something. We need to get her some new turn signals. But, I mean, come on. Come on. For what it was, when we got a hold of it, I mean, friggin' come on. Look at that. Never mind that little side over there. We'll fix that tomorrow. That's the little tweakage we're talking about. But that is not too shabby at all. Huh? Yeah, let's go hook up the battery and make sure the second headlight works. It works. Hit the brights on the column. That should be the, I think if you, yep, see the high beams? If you push it forward, that's your high beams on. And if your flash, that's for when you're trying to warn oncoming drivers that either their headlights are on or their brights are on, or more importantly, that there's a cop behind you, you know, so you flash them like that. Hey, slow down. It's like Morse code, you know, yeah. Hit them. Yeah, that works. Alright, so tomorrow we'll be back with new air filter, new oil, and new oil filter, and some stuff to get our bumper here setting exactly where we want it to. And then we'll get this old girl pulled out, take her up and down the road, see how she's going to do with all the new parts and the new bumpers, and looking complete for the first time since 2018. Alright, y'all sit tight. Alright, so it's a couple days later. We're back out here on the C230 project. Unfortunately, we had to take a couple days off. I was feeling a little under the weather, wasn't able to make it out here and, you know, get this stuff done in the heat and whatnot out here. But we're back out here today. The weather's really nice. Today's going to be the final day of this project. Well, this stage of this project. So what we're going to be doing today is putting an oil change on the old girl. We got to finish tweaking the front of this bumper here. To try to get the body lines to line up a little better. We've got to tweak the driver's front fender up here to get that line, or body line to look a little better. It's a little big on this side right now. And then we're going to be putting a new air filter in it. That'll pretty much complete like the tune-up aspect of it for right now. And then we'll take this for a spin around the block or whatever. We're going to be waiting until the following video. We've got a wheel and tire package planned for this old girl, alright? So y'all, we're not leaving the old crusty dry rotted tires on it and the old beat up wheels and whatnot. We got some plans for that. Much more modifications and stuff like that coming in the next video featuring this vehicle. So that's what we're going to be doing on this one. Finishing off the regular maintenance, getting it back up to snuff as far as that goes, getting the body lines as close as we can get them, and then just getting it to where we can take it around the block safely and whatnot, and that'll kind of complete this stage of this project, and then we'll move on to much bigger stuff in the following video. So that being said, let's go ahead and get this oil change done. Actually, first let's get the bumper where we want it to be. As you can see, it's kind of floppy down here. This side of the bumper here, the little supports inside here on this bumper that we purchased is kind of not really where it needs to be. It's a little damaged, if I'm honest. So what we're going to be doing is just using some sheet metal screws, self-tappers. We'll cover them up with this piece of the bumper. Self-tapper into this support under here, and that should get us right where we need to be. Alright, so we've got some big old long 2-inch self-tappers here. Should be plenty strong enough to help support this bumper. What we're looking to do is go up under this secondary piece of the bumper here and hopefully be able to kind of hide these self-tappers. We don't want a whole mess of screws and whatnot showing. That's just going to look tacky. We're all about refinements here at Southern Motor Works and making everything look factory spec. Right, Olivia? Alright, so we've got that in there pretty well cinched up. As you can see, we're missing that little trim piece right there on the driver's side. We'll have to find that on eBay or something, but other than that, I think it's fitting up in there pretty good. What do you think? Looks pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Considering what it was when we bought it. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and just press forward with an oil change on it. We got to put that new air filter in there. Then we need to wipe the windshield off. We can finally take the first spin up and down the road a little bit. We'll lay that up underneath there so we can not get covered in dirt, hopefully. Alright, so while she's running to get the drain pan and our rest of our oil, this thing takes 5.8 quarts. So we got a 5-quart jug, and then we've got some leftover 040 in one of the big 12-quart boxes. So we'll get our 0.8 of a quart out of that left over there. This thing here, though, goodness, that oil cap is tight as all get out. Luckily though, we do have a new one of these. That one is about shot. It's all broken on the top and everything. So that's trash. So we're looking for an oil drain plug. This is our oil pan right here. This little tiny old thing on this 2.3 liter. So, oil drain plug is going to be right here on the side. Hopefully it's not too awful tight. Okay, let me get a actual socket before I mess around and strip that out. Yep, 13 millimeter. There we go. She just didn't want to be took off with a crescent wrench. Alright, we'll let that drain for a little while. Somebody has probably done this with a American size or a standard socket and slipping on it. Probably try to use a 1/2 inch on it instead of a 13 mil. Alright, so while that finishes draining, we're going to go ahead and get our oil filter out up here. I'm trying to figure out how in the world we're going to do that. This thing is down in there. I mean, normally what you'd use is a big socket type that goes over it, but we don't have that, so there we go. It's a game of centimeters here. Ow! Pinched my finger. Don't make fun of me. She's laughing at me, y'all. See if that's loose enough yet. Oh yes, it's been a while since the old girl's had an oil change. Paper towels here. Trying not to spill too much oil all over the place. Whew, yeah, that filter's been on there for a minute. And a CarQuest filter at that. Oh, just screams quality. Not. How's it look down in there? Not too bad. Not too bad. Alright. Yeah, not too bad. We'll wipe off the outside there a little bit just to make sure. Alright, so as always, going to be replacing our oil filter with a good MAN fleece filter from Germany. Part number is HU727/1X, in case anybody needs it. Comes with a new O-ring for your housing. And I'll have to double check the oil pan, but I don't think this one has the copper crush washer on it at all. So that's cool, you know, probably because the cheapo CarQuest oil filter didn't come with a new one. Anyway, it should come with a crush washer on there, copper crush washer that seals up your oil drain plug. And yeah, the old one's on there, but it's super old and wore out looking. So make sure you're replacing your O-ring. Otherwise that oil filter housing will leak. The thing's been on there so long it's not even round anymore, it's like square. Wipe it off real good. Make sure you ain't got no sand or grit or nothing up in that channel. Take your new O-ring. Just insert it on there just like that. Now, Olivia, what do we do next? Yeah, but what do you do with that?
Grease it.
Yeah, with what? Some old oil. We'll put our drain plug in first. That way we can pull the oil out of there and use some of it to slick up that O-ring. So, oh yeah, there's definitely evidence of the oil leaking out of that drain pan too, or out of the oil pan rather. Probably because it was missing the copper crush washer that we're now installing. Oh, there's crap all up in them threads from the sounds of it. Alright, so we cleaned off that drain plug with some brake parts cleaner there. Try to get any grit that was on it out of there. We'll reinstall. Like I always tell y'all, snug it up. And just a little bit of a turn after. That's all you need. Don't need 47 ugga-duggas on it. We'll wipe off our drain or our oil fan. Alright. Okay. Now we're back topside here. Take a little bit of this old oil, lube up our new O-ring, our oil filter housing. Install your new filter. This one, I believe it goes this way like that. Yeah. So there's an end that doesn't go all the way in. There's an end that does. So the end that does go all the way in, you want on the opening in the oil filter housing. So on the little cap here, you put your shallow end. Just like that. Alright. And reinsert. Should push down into there like that. Should feel a little thunk, you know, kind of deal. There she goes. I was wondering if it was going to end. Again, the same thing, that only needs about 25 Newton meters, which isn't very much. So you don't need a whole ton of force on that one either. So we've got our oil here. What we're going to be using is, as always, our Mobil 1 0W40 Euro blend, full synthetic. Meets all the proper specs and everything. I was going to try to use this fancy new fangled filter here, or funnel here. That might work. So we're going to put 5 quarts here in this big jug, and then we'll need 0.8 quarts, just a hair shy of 1 quart, from our extra that we had laying around. That'll be our 5.8 quarts into here. This thing ain't gonna know what to do. Brand new fluid and everything, filters and all that for the first time since 2018. She's getting spoiled. Alright, so that's our 5 quarts. So what we're going to do now is take our big 12 quart jug and we'll fill up just a hair short of 1 more quart in here. That'll give us our 0.8 quarts. And we'll call that good. Okay. Looks to be just a hair shy of a quart. There you go. Alright, that looks to be just a hair shy of a quart. So we'll pour this last bit in there. Alright. In case y'all need to know the numbers, so they're kind of ripped in half there. UHO-000424 is going to be the part number for your replacement oil filler cap here. Alright, so go on ahead and put that on there. Oh, goodness. Yep, just line up the little tabs in the slots. You might have to turn it back and forth a little bit just to try to, till it feels like it falls in there. Yeah, you had it. Yep. Oh dang, that thing's stiff. I see why you were struggling with it a little bit there.
It's new.
That brand new one is stiff. Alright. So, I think that's going to do it for that. Brand new oil. Oh, we got to put an air filter in it. Y'all hold tight. I'm going to grab the air filter there. You can let it fall, it's fine. Alright, so we got our brand new air filter here. It's going to be, of course, a man filter from Germany. Did you expect anything else? Part number is going to be C230 195/2. Alright, so I'm going to let you do this part. I'm tired for the day. It's hot. Huh? So you're going to take, and I'll hold this air line out of the way for you. Or radiator line, rather. Yep, they just flip up from the bottom.
Yes.
Yep, just like the ones on my truck. There's a couple more around the, yeah, I think there's, here, I'll get this one over here because it's way on down there, but there's two on this end over here too that you're going to do. Okay, good. Should just be able to pull it kind of. Yep, just like on my truck. I would not doubt that. There's a lot of peanut farms around here, y'all. Peanuts and cotton. That's what we do here in northern Florida. The Panhandle. Good enough. So speaking of stuff that's real similar to the 430. Yep, just like that, the skinny side towards the back. We got a surprise coming up in the near future here for another vehicle with the channel, or for the channel, I should say. So it'll be pretty entertaining, y'all. Make sure you check that out in the near future here. Yep, it just slides on there just like that. And what I usually do is just kind of tuck it right inside there a little bit. Yep, and then this will just sit right over the top of it. Now she'll be able to breathe. Won't be all congested through that, super old and wore out air filter. You get that last one?
Okay.
Go ahead, baby girl. Alright. Cool. Yeah, I think I'd say that was a little worse for the wear. Goodness gracious. Yep, that'll go in the trash. Get our oil filter. Pliers. We did tighten that up, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, we're going to top off the power steering fluid. This power steering pump, I know y'all can hear it in the video, is just a screaming. So, we topped it off with fluid before, but I'm thinking there was air in the system or something like that, because it didn't take very much. Yeah. It didn't take very much, and then it was full. And then it was full on the stick here, but it was still just howling, right? So now we notice after we've driven it a little bit that it's a little low on the stick. So I'm hoping that it was just the fluid needed to work its way down into the system and not that the pump is completely shot. There we go. So we'll see now. If it's still screaming after topping it off again, we know the pump's pretty well shot and we'll have to get another one of those. But yeah. Alright, so let's go ahead and get the hood closed for right now. How was the coolant in it? Did we need to top that off at all? Oh, we probably did lose a little bit because remember that hole that's in the radiator. So we have a hole in the top side
That was a plastic case on the radiator. Oh yeah, there it goes, just pouring out. Yep. Yep. Yeah, I was afraid of that. Yeah, it's just going to pour right out. So, in other words, we're not going to be able to run this for very long. But, we can run it up and down the road a couple times. Should be fine before it starts to get real hot. Close that hood one more time. Not too bad on the fitment there. Man, I'll tell you what. Not too bad on the fitment at all. We got to get some turn signals. We got one over here, but it's all busted out and garbage. Yeah. So we got to get some turn signals for it, but as far as the fitment of the bumper goes, for what it was and doing what we did, that is not too shabby. I'll take it. I will take it. Alright, so she needs some air in the tires. So let's wipe the windshield off and go ahead and take it around the front of the house real quick here. So we can get it out that way, and maybe we'll give it a bath, you know, in the coming days or something like that. But we do have a radiator to replace that one that's got a hole in it there. So that'll be in the next video along with some other stuff, new wheels and tires and whatnot. But for right now, let's get this windshield wiped off here. Olivia, what's the name of this car? Go ahead, what's the name of the car?
It's the Mike Wazowski.
and why are you calling the car Mike Wazowski?
Because it has one windshield.
She says it looks like a Cyclops, like Mike Wazowski from Monsters, Inc. Goodness! Oh, that windshield was filthy. So we're calling this car Wazowski, right? I don't know if that's copyrighted or not, but if we get a letter from Disney or Pixar, then we know where. We got to find a different name for it, I guess. Gotta get all these leaves and whatnot vacuumed out of the engine bay and whatnot. That looks like we should be able to see out of it better at least. Took the battery back up. Alright, so let's make sure it's going to crank up. We'll get it around to the front of the house there. Oh, we can put some air in these tires. Alright, so obviously we had a slight little change of plans there. For some reason, that fuel pump that was sitting in the back seat that we assumed was good, apparently is not good. It kind of crapped out on us and the car wouldn't start. So, we've been delayed by a few days. We had to order another one in. We just got it in. So, hopefully, this one will fix the problem. I don't know what caused that previous pump to go out. Perhaps it was a used one. I don't know, maybe there's some trash that got into it from the fuel tank. So we're going to go ahead and put another fuel filter on anyways, and put the new fuel pump on, and then we should be able to go on ahead and drive this thing around a little bit and, you know, proceed with finishing up this stage of the revamp. Alright, so same deal as last time. We've done this before. So all we're going to do is go ahead and unhook our lines and whatnot and get this. So same thing as last time. We got our fuel pump and our fuel filter. We're just going to be unhooking our lines from either end. Undo the little Phillips head screw in the middle. We should be able to swap these out here pretty quickly. Where's that green thing? It's not super bad looking. But it is a little clogged though. You got it? Okay. Let's lay it up in there for right now. Alright, so we got our fuel pump just about installed, so we're going to go ahead and throw a new fuel filter in there too, just to make 100% sure. You know what? This one doesn't tell you the flow direction on it. Oh, out. There it is. Okay, one side says out. Yeah. Stamped on the underside of it there. Usually they have an arrow on the side, but okay. So that's gonna go up to the fuel rail. Stick that in the bracket. The small end of it is gonna go and get fed from the fuel pump. Yeah. So we did replace the fuel pump relay just to make sure that wasn't a problem, but alright, that's all installed. Let's go ahead and shoot some more air in these old tires and see if we can drive it up and down the road a little bit. Alright, so we got the front tires aired back up, so we're going to go ahead and move some stuff out of the way and whatnot. We'll get in here and make sure this new fuel pump and fuel filter solve the problem again. I mean, really, there's no telling. We don't know how old that fuel pump was. It came from the previous owner, and it was just sitting in the back seat. So there ain't no telling. That fuel pump could have been sitting there for years, and the floor to heat and everything. So that may have caused it to go bad. But so anyway, now we got brand new ones in there, and we know they're brand new. So we're going to go ahead and hop in, make sure that fix the problem. We can drive this up and down the road a little bit. That was the problem. Had to reprime the lines a couple times there, but that seems to have done it. Now we can't let it run for very long because we do have that hole in the radiator. We have a new radiator. We'll be putting that one in here in the future, in the very near future. But for right now, let's go ahead and back it up, take it for a spin real quick. Alright, here we go. First drive.
Oh,
Yeah, let's roll these windows down. Woo! Warm. Alright. So we got that slight vibration. I'm thinking that was probably motor mounts needing replaced.
probably.
Hey, you know what though? You hear that? The power steering was just still low on fluid. We topped it off that first day and it was still really loud.
Yeah.
Now it's not making noise anymore, so we don't need a power steering pump. It was just super low on fluid. We are going. I mean, she's friggin' working. Feels pretty good. I'm not even going to bother taking it out on the paved road because them tires are way too far gone for that. They would probably bust as soon as we got up over 30 mile an hour.
And we don't need that.
I mean, that's like almost 40 mile an hour. She's freaking up and running. It's going good. Goodness, you don't feel too bad at all. You think it'll spin the tires? A little bit. Oh, soft sand. We're going to see if we can go live here real quick. Go ahead and pull up like I did. So we're live here with the C230, taking it for the first test drive up and down the road after getting it going. Pull right up over there. Alright, brakes, put her in reverse. 5-point turn over here. Alright, brakes. Oh, only 3-point turn. About went off-road in the old C230 there. Alright, going ahead and take us back to the house. We're a little low on coolant. We got a hole in the radiator, but we'll save that for another video. But everything's going good. Not overheating, even though we're a little low on coolant, but it's all good. Alright, how's it feel, Olivia?
Feels awesome.
It's good, yeah? Alright, just pull up over there, throw her in park. Alright, hop out for a second there.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, alright, so that's going to do it for this video. As you can see, we pulled this thing out of next to a cotton field where it's been sitting since 2018. Wrecked, missing a fender, the hood was all jacked up, the grill was gone. So we went and found some junkyard parts and we revived this old girl for the first time in 6 years. She's up, she's running and driving, brakes are working, she's not overheating even though there's a hole in the radiator. Everything's working on it. We got a little bit more tweakage to do on here before we can really polish it out and you know, get her ready for car shows and whatnot. But man, it's good to have this thing up and going again. I can't believe it. Look at how good she looks, y'all. Look at how good she friggin' looks. We got plenty more to come with this car. The next video, we're going to be finishing some of the details like the turn signals and whatnot. We still got to color match the, we'll probably end up respraying the whole thing because the top of it's clear coat's all ate up anyway. But we got to put a new radiator in it. It needs a new starter, really, if I'm quite honest. And she just needs a real good bath and really get a good polish. But I appreciate y'all watching us revamp, revive, whatever you want to call it, this old girl for the first time since 2018. And I really hope y'all like and subscribe the video so we can keep y'all up to date on the goings on here at Southern Motor Works. So like I said, I appreciate all y'all watching, and we'll catch y'all on the next one. All right, y'all have a good one out there.